Hey guys, what's happening? It is Saturday, August 22nd, a couple days later than what I normally do a pickup video, but we'll get right to it. First up, went into GameStop, picked up one of my favorite games. Interestingly enough, this is Dungeon Hunter Alliance. The digital version right now still sells for $25, or a used complete physical copy at GameStop is $6. Just saying. This is a isometric action RPG. You've got a little like Tinkerbell-esque fairy that floats around with you, and your base spell, I believe, is a lightning spell. I have it for the PS3, but another interesting thing about this is cross-buy isn't supported for some reason. So I got this for my PS Vita, which is actually getting a lot more playtime than my PS4. Then over to First National Pawn, and I bought a big stack of games from them, and I don't think she charged me correctly at the store, or maybe she gave me a deal because I was buying so much, but I got like 8 or 9 games that ended up coming to, it was 34, 32, and I know it was buy 4, get 1 free, but when I did all the math, when I got back to my vehicle, I was like, something doesn't add up here, so maybe they gave me a 25% discount and the buy 4, get 1 free, because I got 10 games, buy 4, get 1 free, and it came to 34, 32. So anyway, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep for the PSP, it is complete, and I don't think it got played very much because the actual UMD slot holder is really stiff. I do see there's a little split in the case, but anytime I come across sports games for the PSP, you can usually get them for like $0.25. I just buy that and put new cases in them. But like I said, good shape. Fantastic game. I love the Kingdom Hearts series. I just wish I was talking to the lady in the store about this. On the HD upgrades, the 1.5 and 2.5, or 1.5, 2.5, I wish they would have updated the controls. I still it was fine back when they came out, but I do not like the L2 R2 to rotate the camera. I just can't do that. All right, then this was not at First National Pawn. I didn't break these down by store. I put them together by sort of system. I love this game, and it's not a good game by any means. But as I've said, I'm a firm believer, and if you find a game whether the reviews support it or not, and you like it, just play it. And I actually like this game. I have a feeling that the 360 version, because he doesn't have a PS3, would be right up my buddy Jason's alley. But this is Blood Drive, sort of a zombie car combat type game. I actually had a lot of fun playing it. I see it, it's got middle of the road reviews, but I really enjoyed it. There's one new release last week, and I grabbed it because the PSN is back to crawling speeds like it was in the PS3 days. I tweeted out a picture of it when I was downloading Temple of Osiris for the PlayStation August Game of the Month, or PSN Game of the Month, I should say. 2.75 gig download, and said it was going to take 18 hours, and I was like, fuck that, absolutely not. And just as a side note, my PS Vita is hooked up over the Wi-Fi, so this is not my internal network issue. It is strictly the PSN on the PS4, because my PS3 downloads fine, my 360s, that's multiple 360s, download just fine, my Xbox One downloads just fine, my Wi-Fi Xbox 360 downloads just fine. The only thing that trolls along is the PS4. I know they brag about how they've got this massive lead on Sony, or Sony's got this massive lead on Microsoft with the PS4, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, I know that Sony is financially hurting, but maybe invest some of that money into some server farms, because holy shit, 18 hours for a 2 gig download? No, it took forever, so that is why I picked up the Helldivers Super Earth Ultimate Edition. It also comes with, one thing to note is, yes, it's a $40 game, but it comes with all the bonus packs, all 11 DLC packs, and it comes with the PS3 and PS Vita versions. So if you have a PS4 on your main TV and you moved your PS3 to a different TV and you have a Vita, you basically get 3 games for the price of 1. And being that this was at Best Buy, it was $40 with Gamers Club Unlocked. It was $32. Really glad to get this. Again, I'm not a huge twin stick fan, but this is a lot of fun. There's definite, upgrades, RPG elements. It's supposed to be played co-op, but I don't really know anybody. Maybe my buddy Mitch will get this, and I'd play with him. Went over to Target, and our Target had been sitting on this for a long, long time. And finally, they put it into the clearance bin. This is one of the few Wii games I played when the Wii was popular, or back when the Wii was out. And this came out sort of late in its life cycle, too. This is Centipede Infestation for the Wii, published by Atari, and I think it was 2006, but for some reason, it got a reprint or a rerun in 2011. No idea why, but it does have classic controller support. It's sort of a top-down shooter. I can't remember. I don't think it's twin stick. I think you actually point to the face buttons actually control where you're shooting. But it's more of a, think of it like the Neo Contra and, what's that other Contra? I can't think of it. Shattered Soldier. It's sort of a top-down isometric shooter like that. So yeah, I guess I got a couple of them. This has got, interesting, it's got the Missile Command Pack inside. I'm assuming I have to download it. I doubt that download is even active anymore, but I'm glad to get this, and it was marked down from $20 to $8 because they're finally trying to get rid of some of the Wii games they have left at Target. Then, this was a pickup at a thrift store, thrift store. These three are all thrift store pickups. Kim Possible, What's the Switch? Actually, it's funny. I had recently seen a video on the Metal Jesus had talked about how this is sort of a hidden gem, and after playing about an hour of it, it really is classic cel-shaded graphics, which you guys know my stance on cel-shaded graphics. Then I got Call of Duty 2, the big red one, special edition. It is the greatest hits version, but a bunch of extra stuff comes with it. I do have the Call of Duty 2, the big red one, standard edition. I didn't realize that this came out in 3 different versions for the PS2, a standard, a limited, and a special edition. The special edition being the greatest hits version. Got to get this cleaned up. There's still sticker residue on it, but it's actually a pretty competent shooter for the PS2. Then this will probably get traded off. It's relatively, I don't want to say rare, but it is a fairly uncommon game. That's NHL Hits 2002. I already have it for my Xbox, so I'm probably going to trade this one off. This was at First National Pawn, part of that $35 haul. And this is Hurdy-Gurdy, sort of an action-adventure platformer. Sort of a early Pikmin. I believe this came out before Pikmin, the first Pikmin did. Yeah, I think this did. It's I look at it and it harkens back. It reminds me a lot of Pikmin and the Overlord games. Not as dark, despite the cover. It's a little cartoony, and again, this is actually a gorgeous, gorgeous game because it's sort of a watercolor cell shading, so it's very soft and looks really cool. Gertie is sort of a precocious kid who learns how to control monsters to complete his quests and whatnot. He's a herder, hurdy-gurdy, so as in a shepherd, not hurter with a T, not hurting people. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I never had it on the PS2. I did. There was either a demo that I played of it, or back when they still did demo discs, or I rented it quite a bit. But I was glad to get this because it was $1.99. Then this picked up Shinobi for the PS2. I got to get all these stickers off of here, but this is this was Sega's stab at doing their own Ninja Gaiden. They brought Shinobi back for PS2 game. I don't think they've done one since. I think this was the last one, and it's not actually a bad game. It's just, man, Sega can't catch a break lately. Actually, yeah, they can. Their company, Creative Assembly, is making Halo Wars 2. So this was also at First National Pawn. Remember me. Enjoyed the 360 version. The control doesn't seem right on the PS3 for me, so I picked this up because last generation, when I had my choice, I preferred my 360 over my PS3, and I would I didn't want to get in that situation where I said I like my Xbox One better than my PS4, but quite honest, I like my Xbox One better than my PS4, and before you guys say, oh, you're just an Xbox fanboy, no, I'm not. Way back when the PS2 was out, and my buddy Jason would attest to this, I was a huge PS2 person. I thought the original Xbox was going to be a miserable failure. And, yeah, and once I went to a LAN party at his place where we had 4 Xboxes hooked up and Halo playing, I was sold. That was it. This was a pickup at GameStop. I was talking to Kelly. I had this for my niece and nephews at my mom and dad's house, but either I traded this off or I sold it on. I certainly didn't intend to. This is actually a fun little action adventure platformer with mild RPG elements. Marvel Superhero Squad: The Infinity Gauntlet. Not particularly hard. This is. I will be honest. This is sort of an achievement hunting game for me. But yeah. You know, and when I finally do pass it off again, when I finally do beat it, I'll probably just end up back at my mom and dad's house or sent home with my niece and nephew. But it is a THQ game, so those are getting relatively uncommon now. This was over at Rock 30. Couldn't pass this up. I have the trilogy now. And this is a 360 exclusive, so I'd completely forgotten about that. And it's a fairly uncommon game. Not rare and not super valuable. And this is definitely not a perfect game, but man, did I have a blast playing it. Those Eastern European RPGs that sort of try to take the Witcher's style, I have a blast with. Risen. This is the other one. Divinity. The Divinity Ego Draconis, the action RPG ones. Obviously, Divinity Original Sin is an amazing game, and certainly nothing like The Witcher, but this is Risen. It's not much to look at, but it's actually a fairly, and I shouldn't even say fairly, it was completely enjoyable. I had a blast playing this. I know I was told the definitive version is on the PC, but I don't care. Runs on the 360 just fine. A little bit janky, but had a blast playing it. Here is a rare and uncommon game that is worth absolutely nothing. I'm almost positive that First National Pawn gave me this, that they just wanted to get rid of it. But it is an original Xbox exclusive that I do not have. I've seen it one other time, and it was disc only. So I wasn't going to track it down because it is uncommon. I would even go as far as to say rare, but it is worth jack shit. It is not worth a penny. And this is Volvo Drive for Life. This is essentially a Volvo commercial on the original Xbox. You basically get to race as a untuned, unmanaged, whatever you want to call it, unmodded stock Volvo, and then you get to add in all the features and see how they drive differently. It is graphically it looks fine. The driving is fine. The premise of the game is ludicrous, and this is basically a glorified commercial for Volvo cars. And they were asking $1 for it at First National Pawn, but I'm almost positive they did not charge me for this and gave me a different game for free in the buy 4, get 1 free. This was over at Rock 30. Picked it up because they were about to put it out on the shelf. I don't have it. This is a fairly uncommon game for the original Xbox, and that is Manhunt. One of the goriest games ever made. This was over at St. Joseph's Thrift Store, and I do have a copy, but this one is in way, way better shape. Even the Xbox Live code hasn't been redeemed yet. And this is Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. I never realized, I always thought this was just multiplayer only, but there is a single-player campaign in here, and I'm going to actually check it out because I actually enjoy it. Now, interestingly enough, the disc in the first one I got is in nowhere near nicest shape, but the artwork is better, so the disc is going to get swapped out. And it was $2, so 2 or 4, I can't remember. Don't have this, and I see its price is starting to climb on average auction prices, which is really weird to me. And this is IRHA Motorsports Professional Drag Racing 2005. I got 2004 last week. This was $2 at First National Pawn. In fantastic shape. They don't take garbage over there, so I don't really worry about condition when I buy games over there. This was at First National Pawn as well. Played this a little bit on a demo disc from the original Xbox. Was it OXM that used to do the demo discs? I think it is. And I loved it. I just never really got into it, but this is Stuntman Ignition. Also a THQ game, so getting relatively harder to find. I'll have to get some new artwork because the sticker's on the inside, but it was $5. I picked up Hitman Blood Money. I don't know how similar it is to Hitman Absolution, but I'm going to give it a whirl. And I see this one's getting to be Again, fairly uncommon. I don't see it out there a ton, and the price is sort of climbing back up, and the average auction price. This one I know got middling reviews compared to the first one, but this is The Godfather 2. This one's getting tougher to find. All these are sort of in that weird space where there weren't technically low print runs, but there's not a lot of them out there for some reason. This one is definitely getting tougher to find. This is X-Men Origins Wolverine Uncaged Edition. This was a Rock 30 pickup. A couple of these I have to get manuals for. Picked up this off of eBay for $8. Everywhere in town wanted anywhere between 18 to 25, and I was like, man, I can't believe it. I absolutely love this game, and I believe, not counting the Spider-Man games based on the movies, I now have all the Spider-Man games. It's interesting. I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. The Hulk was my jam. The Hulk, Iron Man, and G.I. Joe Transformer comics. Those were the ones that I read as a kid, and after I lost my comics in the flood, I never really got back into it. But this is Spider-Man Friend or Foe. Fantastic, fantastic game. This one is cel-shaded, so it's a little more cartoony bent. It looks more like the comic. Fantastic looking. I played through about a third of this already. I can't remember, did I trade it off? Or this, like I said, I lost about a dozen or so games when my basement flooded. When I say the flood was the flood that we had back in '97 in Grand Forks here that took over the whole city. When I say my basement flooded here is because our watering system fucked up around our house. So I lost about a dozen or so games, and that might have been one of them. Here's one that's fairly uncommon, getting tougher to find. Clash of the Titans. I played a little bit of this on the PS3. I rented it. Actually enjoyed it. If I remember correctly, there's an insane... excuse me. There is an insane amount of weaponry and weapon upgrades, if I remember right. Not in the original case, but I just picked up a box of 40 Xbox cases, and they were brand new Xbox cases, not harvested from games. Then this one is definitely a rare and uncommon title, certainly getting harder to find. Tracked down a new copy of this on Amazon. It is Cartoon Network's Punch Time Explosion XL, sort of a Smash Brothers take with the Cartoon Network properties. And there is a single-player story mode. I know nothing about it. I just saw that this is getting tougher to find, so I picked it up because I am intrigued by it. Like I said, appears to be like a Smash Brothers-esque. Actually, not appears. I watched video on it. It is definitely a Smash Brothers-esque. Power-ups, synergy attacks. Looks really gorgeous for even, what was it? Came out in 2011, 2012, right around there. But it looks gorgeous. It holds true to its original property. This was at... My phone's going off. But this was at Rock 30. A guy came in and traded in a massive Atari 2600 lot, and a lot of it was still complete in box. Even the console was complete in box. Unfortunately, the one game he didn't have complete in box is one of my favorites. That's Outlaw. This is the original. This is the original arena shooter right here. It's one-on-one. There is a single-player mode, but it's one-on-one. This was absolutely my favorite co-op game. My cousins, Tony and Brian, and my other cousin, Mike, all had 2600s, and we would play this for hours over Christmas break when we were kids, and I had a blast playing this, and I still, to this day, will pop this in and play it. I'm super glad to get it. I do have a box and manual, so I just needed the cart. I'm glad to get it. Then, on to the big finds of the week. These were $2.49 a piece at my local Salvation Army. Mortal Kombat Trilogy for the N64. I believe this is the messiest version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy. However, just like almost every N64 game, it holds its value. Relatively uncommon. I don't see this at even Rock 30 all that often, and they're the premier game store in the state, used game store in the state. However, this was the big one. I got some sticker residue to clean up, but the rest of it is cleaned up. I got rid of all the gunk that was on there, and for $2.50, this is one of the biggest steals I've ever had at a thrift store. Super Mario 64, and I've already had offers. When I tweeted out the picture of it for $2.50, I've already had offers. Sorry guys, this isn't going anywhere. This is staying in what my friend Jason, different friend Jason, I have a bunch of friends named Jason, but one that lives in the Chicago area and one that lives a couple of blocks away from me. The one that lives a couple of blocks away from me refers to this as the vault. So this is going into the vault, and it will get some heavy play time. I remember my old roommate, another guy named Jason, not either of the other two Jasons. My old roommate Jason had an N64 way back when at our house. And I remember playing this for like an hour and not knowing what to do because it was in 3D. So I was super glad to get this though for $2.50. So yeah, pretty solid week. Some pretty decent finds. Obviously, the big ones being these two, Mortal Kombat Trilogy and Super Mario 64, and then probably Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion XL. So I'm getting back to doing the more regular weekly vids. Got some review videos that I'm going to post this week, or review/gameplay videos. Otherwise, we're in North Dakota, so I would assume that we're winding down. I would say probably Labor Day, maybe the end of September is probably the end of rummage sale, garage sale, yard sale season. Although the weather has been fairly hot here lately, so it might extend, because we're supposed to have a milder winter. It might extend into October this year, which I'm fine with. I might take a weekend off coming up here and just hit up some yard sales one last time before they wrap up for the season. That's right about, I would say October, November is right about the time that our thrift stores seem to get bombarded with old cool electronics, and that not just video games, but you'll find cool old record players. If I would have been thinking, I would have picked it up, but there was an awesome old school Sony, over the shoulder boombox. I should have picked it up when it was there. I just sort of spaced out on it. But thanks for watching, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe, and we will see you next week.